and put the minister's picture. If you can download it, it will be.
Sanjay, I think we have to download this one. I'll just give it to Sanjay.
Initially, just put it on mute so that when Sudhir sir finishes, you can start. There's a little bit of echo. I will mute it for you. I'll mute it, sir. It's okay. I will mute it. Okay. I will put it. I'll ask you to unmute. Okay. Yes, Sudhir sir, we can start now.
Okay, sir. Still echo is there, but I am unable to hear myself. What I am saying. No? Yeah. Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the 11th day of online physical education and community coaching program. All these days we were talking about the concept, how to prepare the content, development of classes, development of age appropriate activities for classes nursery to 12. Now we have to think about how to make these things interesting. Now, most of the times, at times we fail at inculcating a sense of enthusiasm amongst the students in order to take part in physical activity. Why? Because we lack creativity. The creativity is something like intelligence in action. We have to be creative in chalking out a befitting plan, at the same time thrusting on fun and enjoyment. It has to be suitable for the age, gender, and all the sort of aspects. Today we have with us Dr. Lamlun Buhril, Associate Professor, SAI LNCPE Trivandrum, to talk about how a physical educator could be creative in terms of chalking out and implementing a physical education curriculum plan. To have a brief intro about Dr. Lamlun Buhril, he has earned his bachelor's and master's in physical education from Lakshmibai National University of Physical Education, Gwalior. Later on, he has done his doctorate from Sunrise University. He has started serving SAI LNCPE Trivandrum since 1996, and he has also served for a couple of years as administrator in Northeastern Regional Center, Imphal, Manipur. He has also got ample experience as a coach as well as a player in soccer. He is very fond of playing almost all the games, but then his area of interest is still football. More than that, he has got keen interest in sports psychology and sports management. Of course, he was teaching the same subjects for more than 26 years. On behalf of Sports Authority of India, Lakshmibai National College of Physical Education, Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, and Khelo India, and on behalf of the panelists and participants, I extend a warm welcome to you, sir. I also extend a warm welcome to the coordinator, Sujit Panigrahi, and all the participants as well. The platform is yours, sir, please.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is a privilege and a God-given opportunity to speak here on creativity in physical education and sports. At the outset, let me thank the coordinators and principals SAI LNCPE and Sport Authority of India in particular for giving me such a wonderful opportunity. Dear friends, we'll be talking on today creativity in physical education and sports. If you look into the slide, I have put one quotation by Epicurus, where the quotation is, "It is impossible to live pleasurably without living wisely, well, and justly, and impossible to live wisely, well, and justly without living pleasurably." This is a quotation given by Epicurus. What I want the participants to learn from here is, the stressing point in this quotation is, until unless you are able to enjoy, until unless you are able to find pleasure in your work as a physical education teacher or as a community coach, the effort to be creative in your field it is not going to just happen. So once again, let me tell you, the first and foremost important things to be creative in your field is to enjoy your work and to find pleasure in your work. I have 4 main objectives in today's presentation. One is creative and innovative ideas that is going to be applicable in your program as a physical education teacher is not going to happen by chance. That means you have to put effort into it. Second one is to involve staff, children and parents in school physical education program. What are the steps you can take? And the third one is, it is always good to have the right attitude and approach to positively influence the community fitness program. And fourth, I also want to introduce this blogging, the concept of blogging into the fitness program. Coming to the first slide, I would like to talk on the meanings of creativities and the needs for creativity in physical education and sports. First, coming to understand what is creativity, I have put it as ABC. A is for abstract thinking, that is how to use your imagination, innovative ideas, original thoughts to create something new. And second one is B stand for balancing situation. Creativity means it is never going to be one-sided. You always have to be good in balancing the situation. You cannot take just a forward step. Sometimes you even have to take a backward step. That is what I call about balancing the situation. And the third one is to be creative. You have to trust yourself. You have to be confident. You should be willing to take the risk. And taking risk means you have to take out the fear in you and ignoring the doubt you have in you. Until unless you're confident, you're going to be confident, it's not going to be possible to be creative in your field. Let me sum up. The meaning of creativity is abstract thinking of innovative ideas, innovative thinking, and you're going to balance the situation. And C stand for that is confidence, where I mean to tell you that this, you should trust yourself, you should believe in your instinct. Now, if you can apply this A, B, C into your profession, into your program, then that automatically will be called creativity in physical education and sports. Coming to why creativity is essential and needed in physical education and sports. Dear friends, I would like to stress one thing. If you look at the school setup, especially in, let it be government, private, or international school setup, what you will find is physical education is one department where you will find almost, it seems to be almost everything is lacking, right? You find there's everything is lacking in physical education department. I have listed 5 things here. I'll be talking briefly on this 5, but I know 5 into 5 will be, if I talk about 5 things, you'll be able to, those people who are, those physical education teachers who are working in school, I know you'll be able to add another 25. When we talk about physical education situation in school, one thing you'll always find lacking is the manpower. Almost every physical education teacher will say, I am the only one in the school, or we are just 2, taking care of more than 1,500. These are always the complaint. The manpower or staff is always lacking. And second one is, the second complaint usually physical education teachers have is equipments and facilities. I want to do a good program, but equipment is lacking. We don't have facilities in this school. The campus is too small. All this thing, a lot of complaints you can make. And the third one, funding. I want to organize a program, but the funding, the school administration is not so interested in spending money in the department. And the fourth you have, or some of you who are serious or want to work seriously, you'll be complaining again, the number of allotted classes placed, or the 1 or 2 class that is given, other subject teachers always take it out from us. And the third one, the fifth one is This is all going to be almost the most common complaint. In physical education, you cannot compare physical education with other science or maths subject, because maths and science subject have a clear syllabus which they have to cover unit wise, chapter wise. But in physical education, we don't have syllabus. That used to be always the complaint. Now, if you look into this five, I know these are the five very common complaints. In my 1.5 years experience as a physical education teachers in one of the best school in Delhi, way back in 1995, that there, fortunately, we are around 8 physical education teachers those days, more than 20 years back. But most of the complaint I get from my old students who work in school are based on this 5 common complaint. But what I want to stress today morning is, dear friends, there's no point in complaining. Even by complaining also, you're not going to change the situation. So the only option we have here is don't complain about it. At the side, at the slide, you will find it, that words, don't complain about it. But look at the situation, try to take advantage of it, and as long as you're willing to do something, as long as you're willing to turn the situation, there's always scope for it. I want to stress on this point. You may have 25 reasons to be lazy in your job, but let me tell you once again, there's no point in complaining much. Work according to the situation, look the situation, study it, and for those who are willing, there's always scope for working seriously. And next on the slide, I would like to stress on this. If you want to seriously contribute, if you want to be really creative in your field, in physical education, work efficiently or effectively as a physical education teacher, you have to look back into your philosophy. When you first joined as a physical education teacher, or in other words, I think we'll almost be able to categorize physical education teachers' concept or their mindset into three. The first one is, we call it the winning philosophy, right? The first time you join as a physical education teachers in school, you said, oh, my aim is to produce a winning team. I'm going to make the school team. It is all about winning, winning, winning. That is what we call the winning philosophy. And the second types of physical education teachers we have to help young people have fun. This second group of physical education teachers have this tendency to just have fun with hardly teaching them any skill or not concentrating so much on the team. But as long as they feel that as long as they have this, as long as they can provide fun, as long as they can make the children enjoy their class, they used to be satisfied. And the third group of physical education teachers we have is what we call developmental philosophy. These are the third group that which I prefer everyone should try to become. They want to build something. They want to develop not just physically, they want to develop their children psychologically or socially also. Even emotionally, they try to develop their children. So every physical education teacher is partly a combination of these three, right? The combination of this, having this winning philosophy, having fun philosophy, participation philosophy, and the third, developmental philosophy. So if you are slightly leaning towards the winning philosophy, or if you are just leaning towards those participation philosophy where your intention is just to have the children have fun, my sincere request to those physical education teachers who are participating in this program is to try to develop this, to have this developmental philosophy. As a physical education teachers, our intention, our aim should always focus on developing our children physically, psychological, and sociologically. So,
सर ये ऊपर उसको बंद कर लीजिए सर, ये रिमूव फ्रॉम क्रोम कर लीजिए. Just click on remove from Chrome. Okay. Okay.
Was it clear now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. This so let me make from through this slide, through this presentation, let me make one sincere request. If you have this tendency to have this reading philosophy or this participation philosophy, I'll tell you, just by updating your knowledge and understanding the importance of this developmental philosophy. Philosophy is basically your objective, your principles, how you intend to achieve something in your life. So changing your concept on winning philosophy or participation philosophy into developmental philosophy is not so much going to be a problem, as long as you are willing to try it. I want everyone to try to have this developmental philosophy. And next, I would like to talk on the step to be a creative physical education teachers. How to be a creative physical education teachers. I'll be talking only on two things under this one. One is planning and preparing for classes, and second one is what I call this plus and minus technique. There's coming to the first one, planning and preparing for class. When we talk about planning is deciding in advance what you're going to do, and preparing is practicing how you are going to do it. So this is going to, if you just look back into this planning and preparing for class, I feel this is often the area where physical education teachers in school ignore it, right? We hardly plan, frankly speaking, we hardly plan, we just go to the class, and we have this tendency to have this situational adjustment. I would like to stress, we should avoid every day. It may not be difficult, it may not be possible, but we should learn how to inculcate this planning and preparing for class, because you cannot always stress this too. As long as a teacher, not only in physical education, I'm very sure in everything you're going to do in life, as long as you add more of this planning and preparing for a situation, the outcome is always going to be better than non-planning or non-preparing. So let me repeat, planning is deciding in advance what to do, and preparing is practicing how we are going to do, what you are going to do. Now, on the second part, the plus and minus technique, I call it, it is just about diary recording. This is one thing that we have been avoiding for a long time now. In the past generation, people have this tendency to make a diary recording. It is high time this new generation, we should look back into this concept and use it profitably in our profession. Like I said, I call it the plus and minus technique. The plus technique here is, it is a continuation of this planning and preparation. When you plan what you are going to do, how you are going to take class, what are the activities you're going to do in your physical education program. When you started listing out this thing into your book or into your diary, I call this one the plus technique. If you can see in the slide, I said the plus technique is a positive habitual practice of maintaining a diary or planning books where you consistently keep or maintain records about your program for a class. This is the plus positive. And the minus technique here is taking time to look back into your plan at the end of the day and subtracting or minusing those plans that doesn't work. There's never a guarantee that whatever you plan is going to work. So if you have this habit of having your own record or maintaining your own diary and planning out your program in such a way that you started listing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you started listing, and you go and try it out today. For example, Monday you try out, or Tuesday you try it out with your class. Then after you know that you have tried out, when you come back to your quarter or to your home, sit back, look back into your planning. It is your positive planning. And obviously, out of 5 things that you have listed, maybe 1, 2 may not be so efficient. so applicable. Then what I mean by minus technique is you just cut out these two, and the next time, maybe Wednesday or Thursday when you go for a class again, I'll tell you your class is going to be more efficient and more effective than the Monday and Tuesday's class. So this is what I mean by plus and minus technique. One thing I would like to add here is, if you can maintain your diary efficiently, I'm very sure time will come that can be very useful for scholarly research. As physical education teachers, we have this tendency. My duty is to teach, to work with school children, but I want you to bring up your level of thinking one step ahead, right? One step ahead. That means everyone can get into research. Research is just looking back what you have done, and if your technique is going to be very efficient, if a small study is made, and I'll tell you, once it is proven, then you'll be one big contributing members to this profession. So let me repeat once again, please do maintain your diary. And if you find that whatever your findings or your technique, your ideas, your innovative ideas is useful, you can always get back to a research scholars, or you can even get back to us also. Then you can tell us, this is working so well, I think a good research can be done. We'll be always very, very happy to help you out of that case. So as a physical education, don't restrict yourself to the school environment. Just try to contribute something to our professionals. Then next we have a symptom of creative physical education teachers. Living in this pandemic times, I specially use this word symptom because everyone is familiar with this the particular word symptom, right? Here, what I mean to say by symptom of creative physical education teachers is, I have listed down 3 big points. If you find you can identify yourself with these 3 things, you may not notice it, but I'll call you, you are a creative physical education teacher or a good physical education teacher. You can use it as a testing tools also. The first one is, I said, popularity for the right reason within the school premises. Let us not talk about the community or the area where you live. Let us talk about the institutions you're working. How you can be popular in your school, inside the school campus. This is what I mean by popularity for the right reason. It is, as a physical education teacher, it is so much possible to be popular for the wrong reasons in the school. I don't want you to be that type. I want you to be popular in the school premises for the right reason. And how can you do this one? I have 3 points, 3 important points to discuss under this one. One is how you carry yourself. How you carry yourself physically, I should say. When I talk about how you carry yourself, physical education teachers, the particular word itself is you are expected to look fit, right? You may be slightly heavy, but it is possible to look heavy and fit also. Until less you prove yourself that you show through your looks that you are yourself fit, it is not going to be so much possible to be so popular in the school. So once again, as a physical education teachers, you know how to be fit. So try to be example to the student, to the staff, and all the people who are working under the school campus. So how you carry yourself is going to be very important. Once you are fit, you have a good body as a physical education is fit and healthy, then one big duty, one big responsibility to be popular for the right reason is fulfilled. And the second, I have listed your attire and fashion selection. This is so important because I have experienced it working as a physical education teacher. So many times we have physical education teachers, we just restrict ourselves. We come to school dressed with sport dress, one tracksuit, we hardly change. I did not say that we should keep on wearing formal dress and other dress in every time. What I mean to say by yeah, attire and fashion selection, I only want to stress there's some program in the school. Be comfortable as a physical education teachers. Try to be comfortable with your sports dress. One. Second, try to be also comfortable with a casual dress. And when some big program is held in the school premises, try to dress very comfortably, formally also. Because this is the time where people observe you. If you stick to one particular dress code, then maybe things will get monotonous and you'll be identified with that particular dress. And that I want you to try to change that habitual, mindset of physical education teachers. So through this one, I want to request you once again that try to be, even if you did not do it, try it out and just try it out. If it works, I'm sure it will work out because I too tried and then it works. Yeah, attire, you have, once again, you have to be comfortable with your sports dress, with casual dress, and as and when required, you have to be very comfortable with a formal dress. And the third one is a physical education teachers is expected to have this uh, extrovert attitude, right? In other words, your social skill is going to be very important. You are expected to gel well, to communicate well with others, to adjust well, to adapt well with the other people. One very bad thing I find about physical education teachers is when we talk about physical education teachers in school, most of the school, they just thought that a disciplinary, a dangerous person. I want this concept to change. And this concept will change only when you improve your social skill. It is possible to be strict and disciplinary, but at the same time, in a very acceptable way. And the second point I want to stress one is big queue during the PTA meeting. PTA, Parents Teachers Association meeting is a very important time if you work in a school. And if you want to know that you are a good physical education teachers, this is the best time that your quality shows. If you find so many parents waiting outside your room, willing to meet, very enthusiastic to meet you, then that means you have fulfilled one very good qualities of a physical education teachers. I'll tell you why. Because parents, as a parents also the same happened for me. When I go to school, my main concern is if my son or daughter talk about one teacher in a positive way, I have this, I try to make sure that I'll go and meet that particular teacher. The same way, if you work sincerely in your school, if you teach your students something in every physical education class, I'm very sure you'll find that a big queue will line up during a PTA meeting in front of your rooms, trying to meet you. And the third one, here I have listed Indian reality, no fun, no sports. What is the new reality in sports? If you look at the new reality in sports is playing in empty stadiums, right? Those of you who are interested in football or those of you who follow soccer around the world, German League, Bundesliga, La Liga, Italian A Series, and even EPL, they started reviving their league, their football league. How did they play? In empty stadiums. But when it comes to India's, we're still hesitant. We're still not acceptable to these new ideas of playing in empty stadium, right? And the takeaway point here is Indian reality, no fun, no sport. Just we are Indians and will still be Indians for a long time and will always be Indians also. Here, what I want to stress here is until as a physical education teachers, until unless you are able to have your own fun clubs, right? And a lot of other people idolizing you, respecting you, or appreciating you. If you don't have that, if you cannot have a good, strong, fun club by yourself, in the school. Let it be with student also, let it be with parents, or let it be with the staff. Sorry. If you cannot develop this big fun club, your popularity for the right reasons will be always difficult in the school. But once you are serious with your work, and I'm very sure you're going to have your own fun club, and once you have your own fun club, it is not just good for you, but it is good for physical education department and physical education profession as a whole. Now, next point is small area game or recreation game for staff and parents engagement. As a physical education teachers, how you are going to involve staff and parents into your program, because they are a big stakeholders. After some time, we'll come to the the children part, but here I want to specifically concentrate on how to engage the staff and parents into your physical education programs. I'll be talking on two aspects here again. One is work visibility, and second one is finding out the right moment. And work visibility sales ideas. Until unless you can prove yourself with your work, your contribution will always be very small in the institution, right? And how to make your work visible. All those things I have already talked in the previous in the presentation I have given so far. If you just look into it, the second stage is work visibility. And once you have, people can see your work, people can see your contribution, and that is the time you'll only be able to sell your ideas. Till then, you have to put a lot of effort to make your work visible. Here, two important things I want to talk about. One is the don'ts as a physical education teachers and the do's as a physical education teachers. In the don'ts, how something you should never do as a physical education teachers is, I put two things: profession narcissism. I'm not going to go in details what is narcissist or this. Narcissist in art of profession, narcissist means don't be the type of person who said physical education is the best profession, physical education teachers are the best, the maximum contribution is made. Those people who are just crazy about their own profession, we call that profession or professional narcissists, who just blindly believe that their profession is the best. If you have that sort of attitude, I want you to come out from that one. You just have this attitude that other subject also is good, physical education also is good, science is good, social science is good, math is good, arts is good, physical education is good. I want you to have this moderate view, right? Try to have this moderate view, then only people will start accepting you. And second point in the don'ts as physical education teacher is the inferiority complex so many of us have. I don't know, when you are taken as a physical education teacher, you just have to consider yourself as the same as any other subject teachers. So avoid having this complex. Maybe you are not so good in communicating. Maybe you are not as rich as other subject teachers. It doesn't matter. We are all the same standard. So fix your mindset. Try to come out from that inferiority complex. Then only you'll be accepted in the school community. Then how you can make your work visible is stay updated, right? Stay updated. Let your knowledge be updated. As a physical education teacher, one good example is if you have a good library in school, make it a point to visit library. A teacher who keep on visiting a library, I'll tell you, within 1 month, you'll be surely noticed. And people have respect and acceptance on your knowledge. So staying updated, it is not just about reading, updating your knowledge through Google or other things. try to show it sometimes. Go and visit library, go and talk to other people, go and talk to other teachers. And second point you have to do is trust your instinct. Imagine, or not just imagine, just believe that you are good by virtue of your qualification, by virtue of your knowledge. You get into a physical education teachers, you get a job. So just trust your knowledge, you are good in your line. Just as your maths teacher is good in their subject, just consider when it comes to physical education, you are good. And what you believe, you try to use it. Trust your instinct. And the last in this as a dues for physical education is, like I've given in the first quotation, love your job. Unless you love your job, you'll never be recognized in the school. Not only recognized, you'll never be accepted in a school. Once you love your job, you stay updated with your knowledge, and you are able to believe and trust your instinct, you're going to be a remarkable physical education teachers. Then how to involve parents, staff. Like I said, we're not going to talk on school children because this staff and parents are a high stakeholders in the very high stakeholders in the programs, right? Now I have listed 6 situations. The right moment to involve staff and parents in your program is almost, I should say, the God-given opportunity. The God-given day is the sports day. Plan out a sports day to ensure that there is success in your sports day. Until unless you're willing to plan, until unless you have a clear vision, your sports day is not going to work out. Plan a sports day in not just children, because children you're going to interact with them throughout the years. But if you have a 5 or let's say 4 hours program in your sports day, my sincere advice would be devote or set aside 1 hour for the staff and parents, and make sure that for the staff and parents program will be very, very well planned with a very good publicity. Publicity can be given through the student itself, or during PTA you just contact them. I have this intention to organize a program for you. Personally, your personal contact is going to be very important. Plan the program very well. And if you're going to organize a good competition for staff and parents, make sure that the ceremony part is going to be good. So once again, find the right moment to involve staff and parents for your school program is the sports day. And in the sports day, 1/3 or a quarter of the time allotment, there is no harm in devoting or keeping aside for staff and parents. Try to organize a beautiful program, select the best activity for them, and then give a good ceremony program, a wedding ceremony. Then you'll be remembered for that. And once you started developing this good understanding, good communication with staff and parents, then your next program, your future program is bound to be successful. Whenever we talk about school, there are 3 ways. One is you can influence the school community through the children and comes to the staff and to the parents. And it need not be always from the bottom up. It can be from the top to bottom also. Once your parents and staff talk good about you, then obviously the opinion, the way children look at you also will be different. And you can go from bottom up or from top to bottom. So make sure that every time you have a good program to involve parents and staff, other teaching staff into your program, because they are very important stakeholders in your physical education program. And this is not going to happen once you are like our topic, once you're quite creative in your outlook, you have that vision, then it is going to be possible to plan it out. Then coming to this, the plugging part, plugging as part of physical education programs. Here, I want to stress, if you just look at the picture also, you'll be finding our present sports minister putting efforts with all the sports person collecting liters from the street and having this plugging program. Just briefly going back to this plugging. Plugging is it is introduced by Sweden, if I'm not mistaken, way back in 2016, when they find that their nation, though it is a small country, it started littering with plastic waste, all this thing. The government started developing this program, plugging, and where they encourage the citizen to run around with the small bags and then pick up all these litters, especially this plastic. And this concept is so much accepted by the world over. And by 2018, it became a very big movement throughout the country, throughout the world. And in India also, we started developing this India plugging run, where different school takes effort, especially those government aided and center aided, and even private institution, everyone put efforts, colleges, universities. They make sure they make a plan, a program, divide it into different groups, take different routes, and they go run work for minimum of 2 kilometers, and then started collecting those litters, especially plastic and waste material, put it together, bring it together, and then dispose it. Now, this is what we call about plugging. How can you use plugging in your physical education programs? The most important point here is, like there's a saying, charity begins at home, right? Charity begins at home. Until unless you started practicing yourself how to, you know, how to be anti-waste materials, anti-waste, anti-litters in your room or in your department room, in your home, if you don't develop this habit of collecting dirty things and putting things in the right place, arranging the right place, it is not going to be so much possible to influence your student. So first thing, like we said, charity begins at home. Try to put effort first in you. Try to develop, try to have this concept clearly in you first. Then we can bring out, once you're already interested and have the clear concept, bring up to the children will be easy. Once you can improve the children's, I have listed 3 things how you can put it as part of the program. One is using plugging a 5-minute start activity class once a week. Every day, if you started bring up your children, let us clean the campus, then student will start making excuse. After the 3rd class, you will not find anyone willing to come for PE class. But if you can put it in a creative way, in a innovative way, you started in, oh, today I find this our campus, our room dirty, so why not work together? And you have to lead that one. Why not work together for 5 minutes as you're warming up for the class and start cleaning this area? Encourage them, and this value can be developed in the children, and they have to enjoy it. So to start with, use plugging concept 5 minutes as a starting activity once a week for every class. And the second one is making plugging 1 period activity once a month. And once you started finding the student becoming more interested doing this social community service or this social work, then try to inculcate this program into 1 activities in a month. And the 3rd one is, and once you find the 2nd stage also you're successful, plan out is a big activity, making plugging 1 period entire school bi-monthly, once in 2 months, or once in 3 months activities. What I want to stress here is you cannot just plan things and make it happen. It have to go from one step to another, step by step you have to improve it. I hope the concept of plugging is clear. So whatever things you heard, you hear from, try to develop this concept into your program. That is also one manifestation of, how should I say, your creativity. Yeah, try to bring in innovative ideas whenever possible. And as a physical education teachers, even the most creative or the best school, you're bound to have a problem, one way or the other. Always, we are, as a human being, we are bound to face a problem, and if you can overcome this problem, that is how you success in life. I have listed 4 important things here. How to, I call it the arts of problems, solving problems. And the abbreviation IDEA is used, IDEA, right? IDEA is used. Whenever you come out with a problem, let it be a school situation, a physical education situation, activity situation, a planning situation, or even your life situation. This 4 solution is always going to be helpful. Just remember the words idea. I stand for identifying the problems. To identify problems, you just have to introspect. You just have to think a bit because out of 10 problems, maybe out of 10 factors, maybe one is very important. You have to identify that the main problem, the main factors, then only looking for a solution is going to be possible. So the art of problem solving begins with first I identifying the problems, and second one is D for developing a list of solution. D is for developing a list of solution. You'll find then you started listing down at least 3 or 4 solution into it, and look back into these 3 or 4 solution. You'll, as long as you spend your mind, long as you're willing to focus on the solution you have listed, I'm very sure out of these 3 or 4 things you have listed, 1 or 2 is going to be very applicable. And try those. And there's no harm in even having a plan B or plan C. So develop a list of solution. And the third one is evaluate those solutions. Seriously go through it. Concentrate how to solve the problems. Evaluate those solutions you have listed out. Don't just do it at random. Just look at the list you have made, and finally pick up one solution that you are willing to try it out. And A is for analyze. You try it out and then analyze how well your plan works. Whether your solution is really effective in solving your problem, you try it out. And let me add one more things here. After finishing the 4th one, after following idea process, if you are not satisfied with how you solve your problems, stick back, go back to these problem solving methods of idea again. Try it out. The second times you try, the second round you go, it's obviously going to be better than the first one. You'll have your problem solving power will be better. So once you cannot solve any problem by first round application of idea, don't hesitate to go for the second round. And even the third round. By second round, if you cannot solve, I'm very sure by the third round, you'll surely come out with one beautiful solution. Now, we'll just come to this PE challenges. I have to play this one?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay. What you just have observed in the video is like, just from the beginning, what I stress is everyone is already creative. Not only the teacher, every student is also creative. That is what I want to stress from this video. Now, sometime give opportunity for the student, for your children also to come out with. You just give them some equipment like this. Now you are given hula hoops and they are given the freedoms to experience, experiment on what they can do. They come up with a beautiful solution. They met someone goes inside, they balance it. So this way, at the end also, it can be some playing tools also. Just once again, through this picture, let me once again stress, students, children are very creative. Try to bring out those creativity in them. And once you can bring out those creativity in them, then you'll have a lot of satisfaction in your job too. The second one, here we have listed, everyone played the game Snake and Ladders, right? Ludo or different games we have been playing this, or even what we call Chinese checkers. As a physical education teachers, you know this are easy game, Snake and Ladders, all this. Since even children also have know the concept, and if you can apply this sort of situation, just a little bit of visions and a little bit of thinking into it, if you can apply these things into the ground, I'm very sure you'll come up with good ideas. It may not necessarily means the same one, but whatever you find, when you find someone playing carombo, okay, you find some people, children's playing carombo, you find the striker going in a different direction, just follow, keep that mind, and then the next day you just make sure that your children's run in that sort of formation. This way, it is always, as a physical education teachers, as long as you want, it is always possible to use what you see in a chart, what you see in the game, in a small minor games or a home game. It is always, there's always means and ways to apply such things into ground situation. Yeah. Like we said, try to generate ideas, try to generate creativity in the children. Here also, just like the previous one, hula hoops is given and they just develop their own game. Only thing is at times you have to control them. But if you give them sort of a certain freedom to them, they are bound to come up out with something. So as a physical education teachers, it's high time we started encouraging whatever small equipments available or sometime indoor activities. It doesn't always have to be basketball, handball, or like this, international or Olympic games. This sort of games can be, according to age-wise, it can always be. And here another picture is slide is shown. This everyone looks. During your course, in the profession, everyone played, right? Rumal Chori, Dogs and the Bones, or something we call it Bring Back the Sun. The idea of showing this slide is you can keep on naming your games. Try to put some beautiful names into it, and that is a sign of creativity. And once you can explain such thing to the student, you make the student understand it. For example, today they play this Rumal Chori or Dogs in the Bones game always. The same game, tomorrow you just put a new game. For example, like we have listed Bring Back the Sun. Let's say the Rumal is the sun, and then Bring Back the Sun. We are going to call this Dog and the Bone game Bring Back the Sun. And it is going to create a new sort of enthusiasm among the children. And this is a small step of becoming creative with the children. And as long as you can put them active, that is always going to be the objective as a physical education teachers. Or activities, yeah, this A to Z activities, what we call it. For A to Z activities, you already have this chart. Put it in a chart and divide the group, for example, into 5. Ask a group to choose from the letter A to Z, 1 letters. from alphabet A to Z, 1 letters. Then divide, and every group have chosen their alphabet. Then you just saw your board where you have listed this one, A to Z activities. Okay, boys and girls, every group, whatever name you have, whatever alphabet you have chosen, you're going to perform now. You just use this, just a small, it is going to be very, very interesting. Suppose the first group choose A, right? They just have to, as a group of 4 or 5, they just have to perform. It is almost like going to be a circuit training sort of programs, right? The 5 group perform, and the next day, when they come again, okay, first part of the activities, we're going for this A to Z activities again. And then, like I said, you divide the group and then ask them to choose the alphabet, and according to the alphabet, let them perform it. And if you can use it as a circuit training, the first group goes to the second goes to the third, like this. It can be a very, very interesting activity. But for this, as a physical education teachers, you may not have the chart, you have to prepare it. So always planning for your class is going to be important. Yeah, another important thing is at the end of the class, always ask, what did you learn? What things they learned today? Since the next slide is slightly related to this one, I'll talk on this one. This, everyone is very familiar with this WhatsApp activities like emoji, right? And what is the most common emoji things you find in your chat boxes? That the smile. I have listed, I put this one, smile, use this abbreviation. If you just look into it as a physical education teachers, please do remember this, the word smile. Physically, keep smiling to your student, give a very healthy smile to your children, they'll love it, they'll enjoy to be with you. And for every activity class, if you base your class based on this SMILES, then your class is always going to be very interesting. Here, what you have to do is, for every physical education classes, make sure that safety is always first. The play areas have to be free from harmful or sharp objects, for example. Make it as safe as possible. And second one is, M is for maximum participation. Let your programs involve the maximum number of children. If you have 30 coming for your physical education class, try to give activities where all of them will be able to participate, right? That is, choose or plan activities where maximum participation you'll be able to have. And the third one, we call it inclusiveness. There will be some of the children who are slightly fat, or even some who are differently able in the class. Don't try to ignore these people. In physical education class, try to choose a program so that you'll be able to involve them in some way or the other. For example, you have someone who's not so good, who have a problem with the leg, with walking. Okay, you put it as a center of attraction, or put him where it will not be dangerous. Try to involve or let him be the scorer or something like that. You plan out every program you have choose. This inclusiveness is so important. Don't leave aside as children. Try to involve all the children into your programs. And L is for learning. What I mean to say by learning is, let every activity, let every program you have undertaken, make sure that children or students goes back with something positive. So it could be how to control emotion, how to have friendship with others, how to communicate well. A certain, let it be physical, mental, emotional, or social, whatever it is, let them try to make sure that your children goes back with something valuable, something positive. And E, your class should enjoy. Enjoyment is important. Children, especially at the lower level, they need a lot of enjoyment. And the last one, S, is for success. They have to feel, they have to have this feeling of success. Maybe this winning, sometimes they have to experience winning also. Those who experience losing today, maybe tomorrow they experience winning. Like this success feeling is so important with children. So as a physical education teachers, once again, try to inculcate this important term, smile, into your programs, into your activity programs. And I can guarantee you all the good things we talk about: physical education, teachers, how to be creative, how to be popular in the school, all this will be fulfilled as long as you fulfill, as long as you use this method of smile technique into your programs. To summarize, this is the thing I have talked about. It is important to have a daily record, a plus minus methods, and to influence this important stakeholders like parents and staff in the school. It is always very important to plan out, to bring out some innovative ideas, because they are very important contributor for your physical education. As long as the staff and parents are willing to fund, talk good things about your programs, the school board, the managing boards will never hesitate in your funding. And we have shown some slide where you'll be able to generate some ideas. Always remember, children are so important too. Just like every physical education teachers are creative, children are also creative. Don't be so dominating. Try to take out the creativity, not only from your side, from the children also. And the last one is, don't forget to smile in your program. Uh, I would like to end this one. And I, before we goes to this question hours, when I'm talking about this creativity, one important discussion comes up with my colleagues. There's an important question. One question that is asked is, what would be the scope of creativity in Indian sport, structure and system? How can creativity contribute to the Indian sports? I don't know this. Since I feel this question is very important, let me just share my opinion into it. I think it will be useful for the physical education teachers also. My answer to such question is, the sooner we admit that Indian sports needs creativity, that will always be the better. Otherwise, to me, this sports or sports science, sports training, whatever you call it, it is no difference from this what we call electronic manufacturers, right? It is almost the same as electronics manufacturers. Now, just for example, when we talk about, let us say talk about Chinese phone, Oppo. Now, if anyone is going to ask about how all the skill, all the technique, all the equipment involved, or in other words, how to make F5, F7 of Oppo, I don't think Chinese will ever hesitate to give out the technology to us. What is the reason? The reason is they already come up with F11, F15, right? So the same things happen in sports also. Now, as long as India is not willing to bring out their own creativity, we'll keep on following the old systems of other developed countries. And every time, my opinion is, it will be the next Olympic. It will never be this Olympic. We'll always have to fight for the next Olympic. We'll do better in the next Olympic. It will come. Because the technology, so the only option to counter this one is, especially those who are in this sports profession, physical education teachers can do a lot, because you are working with children. You can identify the talent also, come out with some good solution, and let us put some creativity into it. And once India have a mind of its own, and you think they can develop, then I'm hoping, this is just my opinion, Indians will be able to sign out somewhere in the Olympics or international competitions. Over to you, Sudhis.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Actually, it was quite thought-provoking. At the same time, it was informative and enlightening. Now, still, as we are saying, the condition of physical education teachers as well as physical education profession in India has to be changed a little bit, in the sense that the attitude of the administrators, teachers, parents, and students towards this has to be changed. Now, sir, the system mostly have a wrong notion that physical educators have to be the watchdogs of discipline with a magic wand in their hand. Now, sir, how do you expect the physical educators to be innovative and creative in terms of handling discipline issues? Mostly we say that we cannot take things in this corporal punishment like this. How can you handle these indiscipline issues with a innovative thinking? Sir, your visions, please, sir.
Lamlun sir, unmute it. Lamlun sir.
Oh, okay, fine.
So when you are talking, just unmute, and after you talk, just mute it.
Okay.
I had muted it. Okay.
The question is how to discipline the indisciplined student.
Yes, sir. How to handle the indiscipline situations?
Okay, let me answer it this one. This is oftenly one of the biggest complaint we have from physical education teachers, right? So many times, our old student also come. So we are just like a policeman in the college, in the school. We did not have time to teach them. But once again, let me stress, my take on this one is slightly different. A physical education teachers, like I said in the beginning, if you are taken to the school as a teacher, you are taken with a purpose, and until unless you are able to prove yourself, until unless and ever you are able to stamp your importance into the school setup, the school attitude, the administration, everyone attitude will always be the same. They'll think that it, like the previous physical education teachers, this is the work of this one. But this is where creativity and innovative ideas is important, apart from your knowledge and experience. Try to develop once you go and once you feel that the school physical education system is not so good, your duty first is to plan things, to develop in a better way, to make sure that you're going to contribute something new, some innovative ideas you're going to put it, and then you're going to influence the school. That may not be always easy, but it's just not impossible. Remember this. Until unless you're willing to change it, things is never going to change. Time will come. They may call other security person to look after the discipline, because they know you can contribute very well to the social and physical development of the school children, right? So it is all about looking back into ourselves and looking at the profession in a different ways, and willing to put something new into it. So I felt partly the responsibilities is ours. So please don't take it another way. Take it as a sort of motivation. Try to put, if your school system is not so good in physical education, try to be the first to put a system into it. Try to be the first to put something new into it, some innovative. Try to be the first to have a positive influence to the administration. I hope this answered the question.
So please mute. Okay, sir. So it was crystal clear, and in order to again conclude that, mostly what happens is we are always complaining about that we are not getting enough recognition or else attention. The problem is that problem arises within us. As Gandhiji said, if you want to change the world, first you be the change. Seldom it happens. We never understands that we are often we are understanding that we are actually having some problem in terms of our identity crisis, but then we are not trying to solve it out or sort it out. So one important aspect is being innovative in whatever be the activity, daily giving the same activity or same what we say program, physical education program to the students, that will make it monotonous and your identity will be lost there. So as rightly said by Dr. Lamlun Buhril, it is hard time to think about it. Now, sir, there is a worry from Dr. Abdul Jalil. Now, of course, it is a connected question. Of course, we are telling that participation in sports and games will definitely mold the character and behavior of a child. Sir, but then, could you please suggest some sort of creative points to be kept in mind while constructing a lead-up game or else a recreational game? Sir, please.
Yeah. When we saw those slides, for example, when we are looking into those physical education challenge, program challenge, I'll just pick up some uh, regarding that dog and the bones. I think you still remember the slide on that one. Now, creativity is not entirely or inventing something new, though that also could be part of creativity. Here we're talking about something to make it efficient, something to make it effective. Now we, or in school time or in college even, when it comes to recreation, we keep on teaching about dog and the bone game, dog and the bone game, right? Now, if you just, like we have shown in the slide, if we just can put a new name into it, that itself is also going to arouse a lot of enthusiasm among the children. This little by little it have to be taken step. And when we talk about creativity, uh, it always depends upon the situations. Let us remember this one. If I suggest something, to my situation, it may not be applicable in other situation. But as a physical education teacher, as long as we are willing to plan it, I assure you, there's always a scope, there's always area where creativity can be aided. Now, uh, Mr. Sudhir, just to remind, when you ask a question about the problem we are having in school, it is accepted there's always a problem. Like, but through this presentation, our aim is not to look into the problem, but to try to look into a solution. Okay, so when you are asking for suggesting some program, you can add one or two activities together and give a new name. That is one good way to start creativity. And according to the situation, if the campus is, if the area, for example, in school on sports day, you want to have a competition in athletics hurdles, right? Now, if you try to follow, for men's the height of the hurdles have to be this, for women's the height of the hurdles have to be this, I'm very sure the competition itself is going to be a flop, because those untrained people, it is not going to be possible to jump over the hurdles that is used by men in the competition. So what you can do is, according to the situation, according to the level, then you may decrease the height, or if you find it is going to be risky, you may even put a block into it. So according to creativity in physical education is mostly according to the situation demand. And let me repeat, as long as you are willing to think over it, there's always an area where you can get something new, effective, efficient into your program. I hope this will be my take on your question. Okay.
Yes, sir. Definitely, sir. Actually, it was a crystal clear answer. again, to add on to that, now mostly we are having a problem like we are never ready to learn. We are always behind some sort of notion that now whatever, let others do, let the system change. Now you yourself is established, right? As rightly said by Dr. Lamlun Buhril, you yourself be the system first. You have to try to create a system for yourself, and you have to try to develop from that. Next thing is that now when we talk about in case of developing recreational games and lead up games, now most of the people are complaining about equipments, facilities, and now it is a possible, it is very much possible to adopt and adhere to some of the our indigenous games like Coco, Kabaddi. All these things can be we can modify these things, and you can just adopt this. Sir, one last question. Now, often you are telling about creativity and innovation, but sir, how we can change the mentality of the administrators, especially the school administrators and parents, in a creative way, so that we can, again, same questions are again, every session we are getting the same question. How can we change the mentality of the administrators and parents towards this physical education and participation in sports through a creative mentality? Sir, please.
Yeah. Hello. Yeah, I like this question. How can you influence the administrators, right? How can you influence the administrators, the school, the parents? If you have seen our presentation, one important thing I always talk about is work visibility. How you can make yourself visible. Until less, and this is a process. It is going to take time to be visible in the school campus where more than 2,000, 3,000 human beings are involved is not easy. It has to be planned, it has to be worked out. It is going to be a long process. And once you start it, you are able to establish your visibility. That is where influence started. And how to be visible. Like I said, I'm not going to list down again. As long as you can fulfill those things, once you are visible among the crowd, then parents, student, administration, even the managing boards are bound to recognize. So this one is, though I cannot spell out, you have to be this and that one, that please, when you have time, please do introspect and look into this particular word, visibility. How to make yourself visible, or how to make yourself popular in a positive way, in the right way in the school premises. It is not going to happen in one day. It is going to be a very slow process. But once you can establish yourself, we are human. There'll be time people will listen to us. But like I said, be willing to work. When you talk about we are never willing to learn, I like that particular word. I think it is time physical education teachers change. Instead of complaining, let us learn something good into it. And it may not happen during our time. Maybe in the next generation, at least will be some contributing agents into the program. Before we just end, there's one more question that I got yesterday from one of my students knows that I'm going to talk about this one. He's also one of the participants. He just asked me this one in the WhatsApp. The question is, how do we turn our profession, that is physical education, into additional income generating source? Right? I repeat, how do we turn our profession, physical education, into additional income generating source? A very good question. I don't know whether I'm fit enough to answer this one, but I'm going to share one small experience on this one. Just 1 minute. Yeah, I even when list after getting the question, I sit and work out on it 5 minutes. I have listed here. Yeah, I think it is way back in 2000, early 2000. A new graduate, one of my students asked me, "Sir, I would like to work in Delhi. What is the scope or chance of doing well?" This is one question he asked, I think, if I'm not mistaken, in 2002. Since I happened to work for more than 1.5 years in Delhi, just after I complete my post-graduation, I answer him like this. Dear, when it comes to our field, Delhi is a city where people throw money on the street. The intelligence and smart, hardworking professionals, all they have to do is move around and pick the money. This is the particular words I, I told him way back in early 2000, 2001 or 2. Then I'm very clear about what I remember those words because last year when I met him again, he keep on said, you talk to me about that particular words, said that word is my motivation. So uh, I don't know whether I contribute something to his life, his career, but one thing I want to tell you is when they have taken this sort of word seriously, now he is doing very well. He formed his own fitness company, and I'm very sure for the information of all the participants, he must be earning a minimum of, I think, 5 to 8 lakhs per month with his new company. That is the situation. The world is about, like we said, it is not only about hard work, it is about smart working. And when we talk about smart working is about creativity. I hope I will continue to do well in physical education. Thank you.
Sir, you have to unmute, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Actually, it was, sir, Sujit sir, may I finish it off, sir?
Up to you, sir. I just wanted to add, saying that what Buhril sir was talking about, I think the last question is all about this session. So people who are creative, PE teachers who are creative, are the ones who are likely to do well in their occupation. I think this whole session was basically about this only. I think the last question and the answer lies in the entire session itself. I think physical education teachers who are creative, physical education teachers who have good communication skills, and teachers who have good social skills, they are the ones who are likely to do very well in their occupation. Yesterday, actually last night, sir, I mean, one of my ex-employees, he actually wrote to me saying that I am earning X amount and I'm going to marry someone who's going to earn 15,000 more than me. What is it that I need to do to make sure that my marriage is successful? And also, so I told him basically everything that Buhril sir was talking about today in terms of creativity, in terms of actually thinking out of the box and thinking. So those are some of the things. And of course, I told him to do a few more things in terms of sports management. I mean, I think it's very important that PE teachers actually think about that. Don't stay as a PE teacher. At some point of time, you should become a HOD. At some point of time, you should become a trainer, master trainer. And that is also think about not staying as a PE teacher throughout your life, but thinking about a career progression, which is incremental from a basic teacher to becoming a trainer, to becoming a coach in terms of people coach, to creating a lot of team building activities that you can do with seniors also. So start thinking from that point of view, I think. So today's session was beautiful, sir. Lamlun sir, I was just noting down many points that you talked about. Thank you so much, sir. Sudhir sir, over to you.
Yeah. In order to conclude, now we were having a elaborate session, of course, a detailed session by an eminent person in the field of physical education. That to school physical education curriculum is a person who is focusing more on physical education pedagogy and curriculum as well. So as the participants were commenting, like he understands the pulse of every physical education teacher, starting from kindergarten till +2 orals in higher education institutions as well. Now, in our personal talks also, we were discussing that physical educators are learning a lot of things during their professional preparation life. They learn all the sports sciences, they learn health education, physical fitness aspects, and many more things. But when they go to school, they are unable to put forth all these things in their work. So why don't we have we are having chemistry labs, we are having biology labs, we are having physics lab, we are having computer labs. We are learning all these things. Why don't we have a health and physical education or health and fitness labs in physical education departments, where actually we are going to prove that we have also learned a lot many things. We are not just like jack of all, master of nothing. We are also masters of health and physical fitness aspects. So I recommend all of you to take home all these messages shared by Dr. Lamlun Buhril. I feel that it was really fruitful. It was really informative and enlightening, sir. On behalf of all the participants and panelists and Sports Authority of India, Lakshmi National College of Physical Education, and Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, and Khelo India, I extend my heartfelt thanks to Dr. Lamlun Buhril. Thank you, sir. I also thank Coordinator Sujit Panigrahi, sir, as well. I also thank all the participants for the patient listening. Thank you very much.
So there's a session today. Tomorrow it's at 12:30 to 1:30. And just watch this five sisters to discuss about their sporting journey. Very popular this thing. So this is a surprise for people tomorrow. So all the batches can actually join. So please do join in with this webinar ID at 12:30 and listen to their story about the sporting journey. We also have today at 5 o'clock Dr. Martin Toms, who's going to talk about the role of community sports in UK. So UK has a very good framework for community sports and सारे PE teachers के लिए बहुत useful है and the community coaches जितने भी हैं सबके लिए बड़ा अच्छा है. UK, Canada, Australia इन सबके जो pathways है sports के pathways है बड़ा important है community sports को सीखने के लिए. So please do join at 5 o'clock today. Join by 4:30. And yeah. Thank you so much. See you in the evening.